Plaintiff Shariah Hall says the defendant is her brother, and he was a troubled teen who ran away around the age of 15. Shariah claims he didn't come home for a year, and when he finally did return, the defendant was even worse off than when he left. Shariah is suing her brother today for impound fees. Defendant Tyler Cannon admits that he's had his fair share of problems, but says Shariah has a drinking problem, and it often causes her to make poor decisions. Tyler's countersuing because he claims the plaintiff got him fired from his job and stole his PlayStation.
Start with you.
I hate to be here today, but at this point I have no other choice. The defendant here is my brother. We grew up really close together. We played, we fight, we got in trouble a lot. But it was normal kid things. And when we started to get a little older towards teenage years, he started to follow the wrong crowd and started to do the wrong things, and I went towards the other way. And when things got really bad is when I think he ran away at the age of 15 or 16, and he didn't come back for a year later. And when a year later. And when he came back, he was kind of changed. He was different. I felt like he was more shadier, and he was a liar. And I felt this way because the way he came back. When he came back, we was under depression that he missed us and he wanted to get back into the family. But really, he was in trouble with some guys because he owed them money, and he came to our house for
hiding. What was he doing that year? Did you all ever find out?
He was at his friend's house, I believe, and he stayed over there because they were allowed to do things that my parents wouldn't allow us to do.
Your mother couldn't convince him or force him to come back?
Every time they would try to bring him back, he would leave again, so it was no purpose, and keep trying to bring him back, and he was going to leave.
So you all never became close again after that?
We did become close. We actually had an apartment together. I found it because, we both were out of a house at one time, and I'm like, why not just live together? At this point, he was doing good. He had a job, and I felt like he can take on more responsibilities. He had a child, so I'm like, why not? Let's do it. And I thought it was going to be peaches and cream, but it wasn't.
What year was that?
It was in 2015, I believe.
So how'd that work out?
At first, it was good, but I lived with my other brother as well. They were more into
So it was the three of you all?
The three of us. And they were more into smoking weed and stuff and doing more illegal stuff. And I felt myself going down that dark road.
Illegal stuff like criminal activity or getting high?
Criminal activity and stuff like that, getting high and selling drugs and stuff. Not mainly him, my other one, but he was, going down that road too. And I felt like they were dragging me down with them. And I was at that time, I was fresh out of school. I was becoming an EMT, and I had another job, and I had all these responsibilities, and I just didn't want to.
So did you move out, or how did that end?
I ended up having to move out because I just didn't feel safe there no more, and I just
They stayed?
They stayed.
They still there?
No, they're not still there. I think they got evicted of last year in July.
Well, they weren't selling too many drugs. Well, they were poor drug dealers. Can't even pay the rent. Get some background from you, sir.
Like she said, this is my older sister. We grew up together in the same house. Like she said, certain things kind of grew us apart. With her, it was drinking. With me, like she said, it was smoking. Like time being, I was at home. I was about 14, 13 at home. She came up from college. One of her friends came with her. Her friend came through the front door. She couldn't even stand up, so our room was downstairs. So I helped the friend downstairs. By that time, me going downstairs, I hear a crash in the back room or by a back door. So I go back there. I see her climbing through the window. I'm like, I stood there for about 17 minutes, waiting for her to make it through this window, and she still didn't. She fell. Then after
what was the purpose of you standing there watching her?
It was hilarious, sir.
Okay.
So
I guess
for
off
that
that
time,
weed, everything is funny.
Yeah.
So I got it.
So
most people might laugh for 30 seconds and say, "Come on, sis, let me help you out." But you say for 17 straight minutes you laughed. That was some good weed. Go ahead, sir.
So
then what?
So she finally made it through the window in 20 minutes. And then I look over my shoulder. My father was actually laughing with me. He was over my shoulder.
He's getting high too?
No.
I don't think it was 20 minutes.
I wasn't high at the time.
Not for 20 minutes.
I don't think I'd be coming.
Go ahead.
So it was about 20 minutes. She was trying to make it through this window. I kid you not. So she made it through the window. She brushed past us like we wasn't standing there. And
she was mad at y'all. Y'all weren't standing there as far as she's concerned.
But
we didn't help
My
her.
problem was her friend walked.
We
through the
know what
front
your
door.
problem was.
Why didn't she walk through the front door as well? Everybody was asleep.
Because she was drunk.
But the friend was drunk too. She could have came through the front door with her. So then my mother arrived home not too long later. She asked my sister if she drunk. My sister is rocking back and forth with her eyes closed saying, no, I'm asleep. So my mother like, so you asleep right now? Yes, you don't see me? Then she began to snore, like while she was sitting there talking to my mom to pretend she was asleep. So that's not the only situation, but that's the most situation because I never
Let's
drunk.
talk about you running away. Is that true?
Yes, that
And
is.
where'd you go? What'd you do? Why'd you
I stayed
leave?
with my friend, Your Honor. I left because I just felt I didn't like the rules that my parents was giving out at the
Okay.
time.
How were the rules where your friend lived?
Pretty much nothing. We kind of did what we
What
wanted.
is he doing now?
We actually work at the same job, work at a catering company downtown.
Good. All right. And did you go as far as she did with her education? Sounds like she got more than high school. Did you get any more than high school?
No, I didn't, sir.
Why?
I'm actually completing it now.
Okay, good. What happened here with the impound fees?
Okay, so the day that he got my car impounded, I believe I was out of work.
How did he get it? Tell me what happened.
Okay, he asked to borrow my car to go to work because I was sick that day and I didn't go to work. And I said yes, but I said as long as you do not have drugs in my car, because I know if you have drugs in the city of Chicago that they will impound your car and it's going to be a high fine. So he agreed and he left out and he was excited and I told him as long as you bring me back lunch as well. So I dozed off and I was waiting for him to call me and I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. He never called me. So I ended up getting woke up out of my sleep by my mother and she finally told me that he got my car impounded and that he got arrested as well. And at that time I got angry and I was trying to figure out what to do because at that time I didn't have that money.
What was it for?
It was for cannabis.
Smoking it or had it in possession?
Well, he left out the house with a joint rolled behind his ear, and the police saw him. He actually got arrested down the block from my house.
World's worst drug dealer.
So that was on October 21st, and
So hold on. When you got pulled over, why wouldn't you just take the joint out your ear? Did you speak to the police when you saw him pull up?
I didn't.
Hey, officer.
I actually
Joint
didn't
in
see the
your
police
ear.
when I had. At the time, I didn't see the police. I don't know how they saw me either. I guess they were somewhere else. I didn't see them. I was in the car. I had just begun to flame it up, and then I pulled off. And
Flaming up, meaning smoking it in the car?
yes, sir. And then I had just begun to pull off when they had when they flashed me. I made it less than a block.
Even if it becomes legal like alcohol is, which is the comparison that's going on now, same rules. You can't drive under the influence of alcohol, can't drink alcohol in the car, can't have open alcohol in the car. It's the same with marijuana. When they say recreational use, that doesn't mean you can just fire up in the car, fire up anywhere you want, go see your son at the school and smoking the joint all the way through the hallways. That's not what it's going to be.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And, ma'am, the impound fees came to $2,460.
yes,
Let
Your
me
Honor.
see what you have there. And what has he said?
At first he was all for repaying it,
Pardon?
At first he was all for repaying it. He felt bad and he was trying to scrape up the money. But when it came down to October 31st when we got it out, I guess he got angry at me and I can't remember why he got angry at me. And I guess he was borrowing money from friends to grab something so we can have. And when
Angry, borrow money from friends?
he was angry
We
at
don't do that to you.
That's not true, Your Honor.
That's crack. What?
No, sir. No, but that's not
You don't
true, Your
smoke
Honor.
crack, do you?
Oh, definitely not, sir. Never in my
What you
life.
scuffling around asking everybody for change then?
To help my sister pay to get the car out. Because we worked out an agreement where I would pay her $200 every 2 weeks because I was working at a job where I could afford that. And that's where the harassment come in. She actually came up to my job. I gave her the
That
first
wasn't me.
payment. I
That
gave her the
wasn't me.
first payment, and she came up to my job like
That
a
wasn't
week
me.
later, causing the scene, which actually ended up making me losing the job. So I told her that me losing the job and the payment went out the window at the same time.
that wasn't me.
That's your
Your Honor.
counterclaim for the harassment
Yes.
and the PlayStation?
No,
is for
with the
what?
PlayStation, I had actually got another job. I came home one day and I realized it was missing. I thought somebody broke in. We was living in a bad neighborhood. I go through the house, nothing else missing. So then I called my sister. She wasn't answering. Then she came home. She said she didn't know where it was at. And about a month later, she told me she gave it to her boyfriend, who then sold it.
All right. And ma'am, did you go to his job and cost him his job?
Absolutely not. Actually, my father went to his job to knock some sense into him for treating me so
Were
badly.
you there?
Yes, I was. Wait.
Was it her or the father?
It was both. They both came
I
to my job.
wasn't there, Your Honor. I was at work that day.
My father didn't do much
I
of
was
the talking.
at work.
She did much of the talking.
I was at work that day. I know I was at work because he called me and told me what
You
happened.
better have a letter, perhaps from your father or from the job.
No, I couldn't actually get one, sir. I just had the receipt for the game.
Let me see that. What do you say about the PlayStation, ma'am?
I did take the PlayStation.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't going to allow him just to sit in the house every day, play the game while I go to work and pay his bills.
You said he was working also.
And I was
At that time,
actually
he
paying-
wouldn't even
at
be
the
going
beginning
to
of
work.
the time,
Sometimes
I
he'd
was
feel to go
paying
to
her
work
half
or
of
he
the
wouldn't.
rent, too. Me and my brother was pitching in on her half of the rent. 'cause
So he
she
was
wasn't paying
sometimes
her
he'd
rent.
go
He
to
would
work and
sometimes he would go to
he
work
wouldn't.
and sometimes he wouldn't, depending on how he
You
felt.
wasn't
like.
recreational drug user, sir. That's a weed head. That's a weed head.
But Your Honor,
Smoking weed all day, playing PlayStation. Don't want to go look for a job. Don't want to go to community college. Don't want to go to a training program. Don't want to go to a university. Just want to sit down there in the basement, smoke weed at PlayStation or Madden Sports or whatever game the latest game is. And young men who doing that, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're pitiful. Play that when you come home from work, after you take care of whatever household business you need to take care of. And don't become a weed head while you're doing it. Take one puff and put it down. To the next day, one puff a day. All right, sir. What did your father say when he came up there? What did he say?
she actually spoke, and she was telling me that I need to give up more money towards the car because the car builds up every day to get out.
Who was present when they were saying this to you?
I worked outside, Your Honor. There wasn't nobody, just customers, which was then
But I
told my
wasn't
manager
there.
that we was outside arguing, which a couple of days later they had pulled the camera and seen.
Your father wouldn't come there unless you encouraged him to. So you had something to do with it. $500 for your PlayStation, $500 for the harassment causing you to lose your job. Your judgment is $1,000. Your judgment $2,460 for the impound fee. I hope folks who are watching, as we have over and over and over, let folks know you can't go to people's jobs under any circumstance to cause any ruckus, to collect a bill, to do anything. Only thing you can do is have a process server serve a lawsuit at that person's place of employment, and that's dirty. If you have alternative means of doing it, you should try and serve them at their home. Then you can try and serve by certified mail, but you certainly don't go up there personally and harass them or send your father. All right, that's my judgment. Have a good day.
Thank you.
If he get his life together, I mean, I hope we can go back to normal, how things used to be. But I'm not going to accept anything less.
I'm just glad this is behind us, and like she said, we can proceed as a family.
Give me a hug.
Plaintiff Barbara Diaz says the defendant is her daughter. And when she was 10 years old, she left the defendant with her father because he was abusing Barbara. Barbara regrets leaving the defendant and says she's been trying to make it up to her ever since. But she's suing her today for unpaid loans. Defendant Shauna Porter says Barbara left her and her 4 siblings when she was 8 years old. And although Shauna tried to move to Florida to live with her at the age of 13, it only lasted a few months before Barbara kicked her out. Shauna claims Barbara has been trying to buy her love ever since, and the money she's suing for was a gift.
Start with you.
Shauna is my daughter, and we've had a strained relationship for a lot of years. I had to leave her with her father because I was in an abusive relationship. He wasn't abusive to her, but he was to me, and I left the state. I tried to get her to have her come down to Florida so we could get closer. But all she wanted to do was argue and get in trouble at school.
How old was she?
13.
How old was she when you left?
10. And I've been trying to make it up to her because I know I've made mistakes.
Okay, so did you all live together?
Her and I, yes.
And since 13 up until what age?
It was only till the following year.
Why? Because you couldn't get along?
She was arguing all the time, so I took her back home before she went to 9th grade.
Okay, all four of my kids argued with me. Anybody else kids argue with them? Why are you crying?
Because I love her, and I just try to show her that I am sorry
Okay.
for leaving.
Why do you think about leaving? But what do you think about returning her? You sorry about that too, or you
Well,
think
yeah,
you did right?
I would wanted us to get closer and have a good relationship, but I didn't see that happening, so I took her back to her father.
Ma'am, let me hear from you.
She is right. She did leave when I was actually 8, not 10. She ended up moving to Florida, and she got remarried. When I was 13, I went down there. I was only there for about, thinking about half of a school year, about 3 to 6 months, before she actually kicked me out, took me back to my dad's house.
How often would you hear from her after age 8?
Hardly any. When she first left, about a year later, she sent some teddy bears to all 5 of us kids.
It was 5 of you?
There's 5 of us, yes. And she left all 5. Okay. So it was me wanting to actually go down to her instead of her wanting me to come to her.
Did she have an alcohol or drug addiction?
No, she said that it was abuse with my dad, but I've never seen
That
it.
kept her from calling y'all?
She got remarried. She moved on with her life. She didn't want anything to do with us.
And then when you did go, she said you all argued, so 3 months later she sent
Well,
you back?
between her and my stepdad at the time, my deceased stepdad, we could not get along at all. And I couldn't take it. After my aunt had passed away, I couldn't even go to her funeral. And that was around the same time, and she wouldn't even take me to the funeral. So I was just pretty much done with it. So I was willing to go back to my dad's. I feel like she was just trying to buy my love, basically.
What'd she do to buy your love?
I mean, she would buy gifts every now and then. Like after I done grew up, I done got married, I done have my own family now. And that's when she actually wanted to start back in my life. She wasn't there when I was a kid when I really needed her.
You want to address any of that?
Buying her love is not true. The gifts that I sent my children was to let them know that I was thinking about them.
Why didn't you call them when you thought about it?
I did. I had a 1-800 number that I got specifically for them so they could call and talk to me at any time they wanted to. And I did have a job.
No, how about you calling them? That's what I was asking. My kids rarely call me. I call them all the time. Since they were teenagers, I went to college, I got to fight to get to them. Now after college, the older ones, they call more often, but you know, that's what kids do. They're calling you all the time, they're living their life. It's up to you, you got to track your kids down. So since they didn't call you, you didn't call them.
They did call me. It seemed like a lot. That's why I had
Too much. That's right.
No.
You say they were annoying.
No.
Go ahead, ma'am. But I needed her to be able to express her feelings because I'm sure she wants to. And so you heard how she feels. You left her and her 4 siblings, and when she did come down there to see you, you gave her 3 months of probation. And when she flunked because she argued with you, you sent her right back home.
No.
And you didn't bother with her again until she became an adult, and you didn't have to be responsible for her. So that's her take.
That is her take.
All
but
right.
that is
And your
not
take
true.
is you gave them the 1-800 number and they called you too much.
No. No.
What's your take?
I told them.
And teddy bears.
No. I told them they could call me at any time.
Got that point.
I did have a job that I could not call them because I worked all the time.
Got it. All
I
right.
was
The
8
money.
years old.
No,
I
we were
was
10.
8.
We
Ma'am,
were 10.
she worked. I should stop trivializing this because your feelings are still involved, and but I congratulate and applaud you for starting your own family. You seem to be a well-adjusted young lady. Congratulations. Let's get to the loans, ma'am. $1,615. How does she owe you for that?
She owes me that for various. I have a ledger and proof of her promise me
Let's see
to
it,
pay,
please. All right.
and checks that I made out and notes
Over the course of what time?
from
Frank?
2012 to 2015.
All right. And when you've asked for your money, what has she said?
She has made excuses that she's started a new job and hasn't received her check yet.
Well, you know the
There's
job
text
excuse.
messages.
Yeah.
She learned that. She learned that from you. All right. She gave you excuses. And so let me hear from you.
I just seen it as it was gifts. She never asked for me to repay it back to her.
Nah, you're not telling the truth now. Why would she just drag you in court instead of asking for her money first?
I don't know. She talked to my brother about it, but she's not talked to me about it. She don't call me, I call her.
When's the last time you spoke with her directly?
Probably in 2016.
Okay. She says she
Through a
doesn't know.
text
She says
message.
they were gifts. How can I
No.
determine whether they were gifts
There
or
was
loans?
times when I have loaned her, given her money, like gas money or money for cigarettes, and those were not asked back. But the list I have there is loans,
Okay.
and I made notes of all that she owed me.
These are your personal notes.
Yes.
But she thinks they were gifts. Do you have anything where she acknowledges maybe on one
Yes,
of these
text
receipts
messages,
or
and they're starred.
until I get paid? That means you'll pay her. Okay, don't expect a lot, but I will start next week and thereafter. Okay, Mom, I promise. You're promising to pay her back, ma'am. You said you never did. You say you always thought they were gifts. Judgment for the plaintiff, $1,615. Good luck to you all. Sounds like you're working toward a decent relationship. Hopefully you continue. Have a good day.
I am hoping that we can get closer.
I would like to reconnect with my mom, have a better relationship, her be there for her grandkids.
Plaintiff Nikita McCoy says she's been going through non-stop drama with the defendant, who's her sister. Nikita claims the defendant stole her identity, vandalized her car, and told people that Nikita was a prostitute with sexually transmitted diseases. So she's suing. Defendant Amber McCoy says she helped raise Nikita, and she's upset that Nikita would bring her to court today. Amber insists Nikita is the one who made numerous false claims against her, and Amber's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Okay, so the defendant is my sister. I've been going through non-stop drama with her for the past 2 years.
Where does that come from?
Starting with the identity theft. She stole my identity, purchased stuff on my name, vandalizing my car, and also as well as slandering, throwing my name in the dirt, basically calling me a prostitute, saying I'm running the streets, passing out STDs.
What made her start that 2 years ago?
So we've lived together for about 3.5 years, and I just decided to, leave the house. And after when I left the house, I guess she felt some type of way.
I object.
And it was, I guess she felt some type of way. So then after that, that's when I get all this stuff that, creditors started calling me saying, ma'am.
Okay. We'll get into that, the specifics, but let me allow her to say whatever it is you were objecting to.
Well, Your Honor, first off, I want to say, I'm truly hurt about this situation. I'm the big sister. I've been there for her, like she said. Our parents, literally, my mother died when I was 9 years old. So it's just been me, her, and me being the big sister. I took care of her. Like she said, she stayed at my house. She didn't pay no rent. I took care of her. I'm the one with 3 kids. And I just don't understand because she's the one that made numerous reports on me.
Starting when?
I guess 2 years ago when she said she moved out my house. That's when everything started with me. Before then, we had confrontations or she was going around slandering my name with other people, but I didn't
While
care.
living together?
While living together.
Why? You never asked?
I feel she's emotional.
You never asked?
No.
Okay, here's your chance.
Well, why? Because all I feel was you kept saying the Uber and me never being there, and I just feel like you're just emotionally disturbed.
I didn't do none of that.
Okay.
That is
She
it.
said
Why
she
would we
didn't do a
live in
thing.
the same house and I'm negatively talking about you? You should, if that's your house, you should have been like, okay, you're talking negative, get out my house. I ain't never said nothing negative about you, period.
Did you ask her to leave?
No, because I'm the older sister, she didn't have nowhere to go. So me being there, I felt it was my part. Everybody told me to be
To
the big...
accept it?
Yeah. So I accepted it and kept going because still...
Why did she move?
She moved because she got mad one morning and up and left.
Why did you move?
I moved because I felt that she didn't appreciate me and she kept having company in the house where I didn't feel appropriate.
Okay. And what evidence do you have that she committed identity theft, and what was it?
I used to live in Arizona. She stole, when she had borrowed my car, my ID, which is not valid. I live in the state of California. I didn't know she took it because I don't use that ID, but I left it in the car. When I spoke to Sprint, which they told me that I had $600 phone on my account and a $450 iPad on my account, and I'm like, okay. And she also admitted this on a voicemail that she had bad words saying, good luck getting this off of your account. She admitted it.
She was on the account with your approval at first?
No, she was.
We were under the same account.
She was not the account holder. It was only my name. She did not have.
Was she on it with your approval, ma'am?
Yeah.
That's what I ask you.
Let
me ask her now about the phone. She says that you even left a message bragging that you had used it, her credit, to get a Verizon
Your Honor,
account.
no, that's incorrect. And I can remember specifically the date that she's talking about, and her whole storyline is incorrect. Because I literally had got a lawyer, and then when they broke it down, my daughter...
You really had gotten a what?
A lawyer, and they broke
For
it down.
what?
Because she, like I said before, she slandered and she did all this stuff. And so
You
when
got a lawyer to do what, though?
Because I found I had a warrant that she issued out on me.
Okay, so you got a lawyer to defend you?
Yeah.
And what
so
happened?
The lawyer told me basically on March 28th, which was my daughter's birthday, I was at Knoxbury Farm. How did I steal her identity and a phone while I'm at Knoxbury Farm?
And that's what the lawyer said to you?
Yes. And so then, but that very morning when I left to Knoxbury Farm, I got a call from her and one of her friends. And that's probably when she's talking about I made a message. But that was after everything she's talking about me.
Did you make a message?
Yeah, about
What did you say?
Probably like you did this, you did that. But like she cut off my phone. But we was under the same contract, under the same plan. So I had more of a right to everything on that phone.
No, you don't. It was in her name. Now, what else? On the car and the slander, what did she do?
So the car, I let her borrow my car. So one day after work, I just decided to go over there, and I seen that my tires were all on 4 flats. So next thing I know, I go up there to like, what's going on? You didn't call me, you didn't tell me anything. She's laying there just like nothing happened, and to the point where I'm like, so what happened to my car? Who's gonna pay for these tires? So long story short, we got into an altercation. We fought that day, and
Physically?
Huh?
Physically?
Physical, yeah. So the police was called as well because she still had the key to the car, and I needed to move it to my aunt's house. Long story short, I moved it and I was gonna sell the car. My aunt called me and said somebody has vandalized your car.
What was done?
It was keyed and the side mirrors were ripped off.
If you had to speculate, what would you think happened?
I know it was her. Like I said, I don't have any enemies. I'm not a negative person. But
Ma'am, what do you want to say?
I completely deny everything.
Okay.
Like I don't even.
Okay, all right. So she never mentioned it to you?
No, I haven't
Okay,
talked
she
to her.
said you
in a
never
while.
mentioned the tires to her.
Oh yeah, I mentioned
Okay.
it.
Well, no,
Like
the
I said.
tires, yeah, but
That's
the
what I'm
vandal-
talking about. They were flat under your authority?
No, it got flat. I don't know how they got
Did
flat.
you have the car
I
and
had
the
the
keys?
car.
Well, that is your authority. That's
Okay,
called your
and they
authority.
got flat.
It was under your authority. They
And
were
with
flattened,
that-
so you're responsible. Now,
And-
what did you want to show me?
So the video, that was just when I had seen the tires that was on flat.
Okay, let's see it.
And then, yeah, that was the night.
All right, and she says she doesn't know what happened, but it was under her authority.
And
She
I was
does
in
admit
front of
that.
the house, yes. And then that's the other one where it was parked at my aunt's house and the side mirrors both were scratched. I mean,
Now, how can I conclude that was her? It wasn't under her authority anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you do have to have a little more evidence on.
Well, the reason why I would think she done that was because she was mad that basically I'm driving around, and this is what she said, because I had just got a Jeep, and I got in an accident in her car, and the insurance people was going to pay for her car. But the thing is,
You got in an accident in her car?
Yes, we had switched cars.
Totaled her car?
Mm-hmm. Not on purpose. Somebody hit me. Somebody hit me
on purpose and left it in Arizona in a ditch.
You left her car?
That doesn't even make sense. Like
I'm asking you. Don't tell me what makes sense. Tell me what happened.
Okay, so I gave her money to rent her car so I can drive to Arizona, and I left her my car, the Dodge Caliber. I left her that car. On my way to Arizona, she doesn't know how to take care of her car. The car, I asked her before, have you got your oil changed? Is your car fine? When I got 2 hours away from Arizona, the car started to overheat. I'm on the freeway, and as I have
You didn't drive it anymore after that, did you?
I'm trying to get off the freeway.
Did you drive it anymore after it started overheating?
No, I couldn't. So
How did you get hit?
So as I'm getting off the freeway, that's when it wouldn't even go over 30 miles per hour. As I'm getting off the freeway, a guy was not paying attention, and he hit the back of the car, and I was in it totaled.
Okay, and did you restore her?
Well, the insurance people was restoring her, but I don't know what happened with her.
You don't know what happened? You totaled her car and you don't know what happened?
Yes, the insurance said that they were going to pay for it.
You all were still in communication? And did she ever come back and say the insurance company didn't take care of it?
No.
You never heard again what happened? Why don't you ask her now what happened? Since you never talked about it
happened?
again.
What happened? Okay, let me elaborate.
Yeah, she
What
acts like
happened-
she doesn't know.
Okay, so what happened? The insurance asked her for information about me. They asked her for information about the car. She did not give them none of the information. They called me and told me they didn't even know where my car was for 2 weeks. They was like, well, we can't pay, we're not gonna pay out nothing because she was driving the car.
So you didn't receive anything?
Nothing.
And when you mentioned that to her, what has she said?
She said, oh, well, I'm trying to figure out my bodily insurance. I gotta go do this, I gotta go do
So
that.
why aren't you countersuing her today for your car?
Well, I don't care. That's material things. I moved on with my life. I have 3 kids I have to worry about. Not her, she's done.
And the slander or emotional distress you're suing her for?
I moved literally half across America right now. Hopefully she don't know my whereabouts, but my thing is, I tried to get so far away from the drama because it just became ridiculous. Like, people have been hitting me up on social media, harassing me, telling me about her, from her going to my apartment complex, telling them I had 12 people and 4 dogs staying in a 1-bedroom apartment, to hers totaling my car, stopping me from my job, which I was making $40,000 a year doing.
You have any evidence of the things she was saying to folks about you?
No.
All right, and you're suing her for slander. What did she say about you?
So recently I had got from my aunt. She went to church and she spoke with my aunt and told her basically, I have this letter and she's over here running around in the streets giving people STDs. Also, the person that she brought with her hit me up on Snapchat telling me that I had an STD and the paper is showing. I've never had no STD, you know what I'm saying? But for her to be like, oh, she's running the streets, she also told my, oh, yeah.
So your slander claim is because she said you had an STD? Mm-hmm. All right. Did you say that?
No. Well, I said, no, this is how it happened. She was still using my address. I got informed that if I kept getting a letter from the clinic saying that somebody in my household had an STD, they would send the health department to my house. I have 3 younger kids. I did not have no communication with her. So the first thing I did after the second letter came, I gave it to our aunt as a mutual person to give to her since I did not have no communication with her.
Was her name on it?
Huh?
Her name was on it?
Yes.
She opened it.
And you opened it?
I didn't open it. It was just sealed and it says from the health department.
Well, how do you know it was regarding an
Because because I don't get nothing from the health department.
You said you looked at it and determined from there that she had an STD.
No, she opened
I didn't
it.
say I had an I just gave it to my aunt saying this is a letter and this is the second time
So
it
the
came.
aunt opened.
Yes, correct.
Is that correct?
That's not correct. And this girl right here, she had the open of the
You have any
result.
evidence of what she did? I promise you she's going to deny it.
I know, but why is she here? She's the one that contacted me via Snapchat, screenshotted the mail that they had opened.
All right, you want to come up, ma'am? You want to speak to that? State your name.
Hello, I'm Ebony Bass, and I did not send her a picture of the envelope. What I did send her on Snapchat, I said, your sister got some mail from the health department saying that you need to contact them and said that it may be a STD. That's what I told her because that's what she told me. But as far as I know, when
she told you that.
Yeah, when
Good
the
enough.
people come out, they says it. They
Witness, prove your case.
Thank you.
All right. With regard to the identity theft, based on the testimony, I believe that not only did she damage the tires because you totaled her car and didn't compensate her, and I think that when you then took it and she was still upset and came back and vandalized it. And then her witness has said how she slandered you, told her. She said she direct. This isn't even hearsay.
Right.
This is her telling her
Right.
that you have an STD.
Exactly.
So, judgment for the plaintiff, and I don't hear emotional distress that rises to the level of a judgment. Judgment for you, yours is dismissed. Have a good day.
You a clout chaser. And just to let you know, your nieces don't like you and I don't like you and you can just move on about your life. All right? Because I've been done with you and I don't know how else to explain this.
You're a clown and negative, and
Thank
and you
y'all.
were exposed, period.
Plaintiff Chandra Atkins says the defendant is her mother, and growing up, she always saw her mother taking money from men, and she wanted to do the same thing. At the age of 15, Chandra started escorting, and is still working as an escort to this day, and she's suing her mother for the cost of carpet installation. Defendant Sandra Collins says she was addicted to crack when Chandra was a child, but claims she's been clean for 17 years. Sandra says she's upset by Chandra's profession of choice, and Sandra's countersuing her daughter for unpaid rent.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Well, it starts with, I love my mom, okay? I grew up in a good home. Problem is, my mother, she's very rude. She can be very rude, okay? Growing up, I saw my mom taking money from men, okay? And of course, as a kid growing up seeing that, you want your own money.
She wouldn't share any with you?
My mother would buy me things, but of course it wasn't the thing.
She didn't give you any in your hand.
Of course it wasn't.
You wanted it in your hand.
Yes.
Like she was getting it.
Yes, of
Crisp.
Yes.
Without her touching it.
No, sir.
You wanted to do a little pimping then. All right, go ahead.
Well, at 15, I started escorting. My mom was bothered by it, of course, but it was taking care of.
You were getting it in your hand then, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Things a little slow now because it's 800 and you ain't paid your rent. Go ahead. Go ahead. It's slow every now and then. Vegas, they don't never get slow in Vegas. Where you from?
Amarillo, Texas.
Huh?
Amarillo, Texas.
Oh yeah, you ain't getting no money. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to judge your working situation. I don't know whether you're working
fine.
well or not. But go ahead. So what else?
My mother
Didn't like it.
No, of course not. She didn't. She decided that when I want to come home, I can come home.
Good.
So me and my ex got into it. She didn't like my ex, of course. My mom's selfish with me. She loves me. I know that. I moved back home. She let me move in her 1-bedroom apartment. We went shopping for carpet. Of course, I found the carpet that I wanted.
Okay, before we get to the details of the carpet you're suing her about, let me get some background from you, ma'am.
First off, Judge, I would like to give honor to you in Jesus Christ.
Thank you.
I was a addict for 17 years.
What was your
changed
drug
my
of choice?
crack cocaine. I changed my drug addiction around in 2009. I got myself together, got saved with Christ Jesus. That was the only thing that I had that was wrong, is I was using. When I stopped using, I got myself together. I didn't go to rehab. I moved to a new state, and I started taking care of my mother. I got myself together by just taking care of my mom and working and staying away from people that did do the drugs. So I've been clean now for 17 years, and I love my daughter. I love my daughter unconditionally. She's my only daughter. And I don't like her situation that she's in. I don't like the escorting, but I know that she has to have a job. All I asked her to do is just keep it out of my eyesight. I don't want it around me. Don't bring it around me. I don't want to hear about it. I don't care for her ex at all. He's very abusive. He fights her. He takes the money that she does work for, and it's just not right. Tandra decided in July 2016 that she would move into my apartment. When she moved into the apartment, she decided...
She left her man?
Yes.
And moved to your town?
Yes.
All right. He went to jail?
Yes,
for what?
Sir. My mom called the cops on him and told her where we were in Florida.
But they had to warn him for something.
Yeah.
Not
yes,
just where he was.
Has,
what did they...
He has a history, bad history of going to jail.
What was he convicted of? You don't know?
To be honest with you, he never really wanted to tell me.
Okay, good enough. All right, and so she moved in with you in 2016.
Yes. She stayed there for a couple of months, and then she moved to the 1-bedroom apartment. She decided that she wanted carpet in the apartment, so we went searching for carpet. All
right, now allow me to have her tell me the rest of the carpet story. Go ahead.
It was actually 6 months that I stayed in the apartment. Yes, I did get the carpet. The reason for me getting the carpet is because the floors.
Okay, so why are you suing her, though, about the carpet?
Because we made an agreement for her to give me the money back for the carpet. So
why did you want her to give you the money back? Why was that agreed to?
Because she asked me to stay there so she can get a tenant to move in after I moved out.
Got it. And so you were only going to be there temporarily.
Yes, exactly.
And the carpet was going to be there clearly permanently.
Yes.
So you paid for it up front?
Yes, we went.
And how long after that did you move?
6 months.
And when you asked about your money, what has your mom said?
I asked her to at least give me, the same amount that I gave her back.
You gave her back for
the carpet. I think it was like $260 a month because I had moved with her. I was living with my mother.
Let's stay with the carpet.
Okay.
You all had an agreement that she would pay for all of the carpet?
No, I paid for everything.
Okay, so why are you suing her regarding the carpet?
Because it's been over 6 months.
Did she agree that she would pay you for the carpet?
No. Why?
Okay. Well, if she didn't agree you listen.
Sir.
If she never agreed to pay you for the carpet installation, and that's what you're suing her for.
I paid for the carpet.
Pardon me?
I paid for the carpet as well.
What are you suing her for today? Is it associated with the carpet?
For me having to pay for the carpet and her not giving me the money back, that's why.
And she agreed to do that?
Yes, sir.
I just asked it 4 times. I said, did she agree to pay you for the carpet? I paid for it myself. Did she agree to pay you back for the carpet? No. She didn't agree to pay. Why are you here suing her? Because I paid for it. She did agree to pay you for
Yes,
the
sir.
carpet. Okay. And the last time you asked for your money, what did she say?
She wasn't giving it to me.
Or did she give you a reason?
That I owe her money for staying in the apartment.
All right. Ma'am, what do you want to tell me about the carpet installation, whether you agreed to pay her for it or reimburse her, and secondly, the unpaid rent you're countersuing for?
I did agree to pay her for carpet after she moved out, if I had attended, okay? Did no one move in the apartment after she moved out, so I'm still yet to have a tenant to pay her back. I have...
You intended to pay once the tenant comes.
Right. If I
That
get
was
in-
the agreement?
Yes.
And you still intend to pay when the tenant comes?
But it's not up to part for the city for anyone to be able to move in it, sir.
When will it be, and whose fault is that?
Okay. I don't know how long it's going to be before it'll be
And
able
whose
to be
responsibility is it?
That's my responsibility. to get
Okay,
it
so
rented.
you're not going to pay her money until you meet your responsibility by living up to the city code. Who knows when that's going to be? After you do all that, which might be a year or two, then you got to wait until you get a tenant. Who knows how that process is going to be? So far, she's out of her 800 waiting on you to get your thing together.
But she didn't pay rent while she was in my
That's your
apartment.
counterclaim. So let's get to that. Tell me, what was the agreement?
The agreement was that she was going to give me $260 a month.
Beginning when?
In July.
Okay. What did happen?
She didn't give me anything.
Not a dime.
Not a dime. And that money was for taxes on the property. She knew that I had to pay taxes on the property if she was going to live in the back. That I am not working, I am disabled, I am yet to get my disability started. So I have here evidence where she was to pay me
Please.
$260 a month for 4 months.
It's not evidence, this is your calculations. And ma'am, did you agree to pay $260 beginning in July?
Yes, for 6 months I paid.
So you did pay?
Yes, sir.
And you say she did not pay you a dime?
No, sir.
And tell me your form of payment. Would you write a
Cash.
check, money order?
Cash.
All right.
It's
Can
my
you
mom.
remember? All right. Can you remember any of the instances or any of the scenarios?
Yes, I would take it to her house. The houses are right next door to each other.
Okay, give me one precise scenario.
She called me and she's like, you know, you're supposed to be paying me today. I said, Ma, I gotta go get the money. I went and got the money and I gave it to her.
Where were you all at when you gave it to her?
Right next door to each other.
You passed it through the window?
No, there's like a field. Her property is really long.
You met in the field?
No, she met me at her door, her back door.
Okay, there you go. She met you at the back
Yes,
door
sir.
and got her money. All right. Give me one other description and scenario of you paying, how it exchanged hands.
It's always been money, cash.
Describe the scene. Where were you? Give me one more scenario.
I was in the 1-bedroom apartment. I walked across the field. My mother opened the door and I gave her her money.
Had she called or?
No, she didn't call. The only time she calls is tell me good morning. That's it.
Okay, so you were taking your own initiative to go by and give her
Because
the money.
I was responsible for it.
Mm-hmm. And so out of your own initiative, you said, let me go pay Mom.
No, sir.
How did it happen then?
No, I left the apartment, walked over there. She opened the door. I gave her her money like I was supposed to.
On your own initiative?
I have to. It's my mom. If I don't, then I'm not going to have anywhere to stay.
All right. And she says that's why you don't have anywhere to stay. Are you still living there?
No, I moved.
That's why
I
she
moved
says
in
you don't have
6
anywhere to
months.
stay because you haven't paid her. So what you're saying plays into her allegation, and that is you don't stay there anymore because you didn't pay. Just as you said, if I didn't pay, I wouldn't stay there anymore. And you don't. She says it's because you didn't pay.
You got that right?
Thank you. Got it right. So if I have it right,
As your mother says, she has not given you a specific time frame in which you will receive your $800 back. And I'm going to conclude that if the time frame is not specific, then it means a reasonable amount of time. So I'm going to grant her judgment because she has a right to anticipate you might not pay her. You can't even give her a time frame. $800 is your judgment. On the other hand, your mother was very clear, very concise, very specific about you not paying. You gave me some scenarios that sounded confusing and contradictory. So I'm going to grant her judgment of $1,040. When there's no evidence for me to see, then I have to go with whom I believe. I believe her more than I believe you about the rent based on the testimony of the parties. $800 for you, $1,040 for you. Have a good day.
Thank you. We're going to go home and be mother and daughter. Try to get
still
along.
Argue. And still love each other, and I still get good morning every day.
I love you, my baby.
Don't worry, it's gonna work itself out, believe me.
Plaintiff Tamara Gaines says the defendant is her father, and as a child, he was an abusive alcoholic. Tamara claims the defendant choked her and even gave her a black eye for missing curfew. So when she was 12 years old, she saved her lunch money for 2 weeks, got on a bus, and left the state to go live with her mother. Tamara is suing her father for breach of contract and rent. Defendant Trent Gaines says Tamara is nothing but a drama queen, and although he admits that he was a strict disciplinarian, he insists he never choked her or punched her in the face. Trent insists he doesn't owe Tamara for anything.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Okay, Your Honor, a little bit of background information about me and my dad. Growing up, he was abusive and he drank a lot. Throughout that period in my life, my mom decided to pretty much get us away from it. You know, it was several times. One time, I can tell you, one time he literally got drunk and they were having a party, and I remember one time he grabbed me out of the bed. You know, I don't know what happened with the kids, the little boys or whatever, but one of the girls, you know, kept saying something about my brother. I guess they went and told it, and my brother and my dad went in the bathroom, and the next thing I know, I was being drugged out of the bed by my ankle.
How old were you?
I was probably about 6 or 7. I was really young. I was very young. After that, you know, he literally drugged me out and he was beating me, and he choked me. He choked me until my grandmother literally came out and stopped him and told him, look, you're not going to do my grandkids like this anymore. You know, you're going to have to stop or I will, you know, do you in myself. As years progressed, still residing with my father, I remember one time when I was like 12, I was probably 5 minutes late for curfew. And when I came in the house, I got beat up pretty bad. I went to school the next day with a black eye. You know, he accused me of sleeping around with boys and stuff like that.
You weren't beaten with a belt.
No,
I was assaulted with his fist.
With his hands, he would choke. He would choke me. It was pretty. It wasn't the normal.
Your mother wasn't living in the house?
No, my mother was not. My mother had cancer after she had my brother, and she wasn't fit to take care of us at the time, so we lived with my dad. But I will say, I saved my lunch money for about 2 weeks. When I got of age and I got tired of the abuse, I saved my lunch money and I put me and my brother on a bus back to Maryland to my mother.
How old were you?
I was 12. Yes, all the way from Virginia to Maryland. I put me and my brother on the bus.
Sir, you want to give me some background?
Yes, sir. This is my daughter, Tamara, as you know, and I love my daughter. But, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, she's a drama queen. She over-dramatizes.
She what? Drama?
Drama queen. She over-dramatizes everything. Now, the incident that she was talking about was when this didn't even take place with her. It was me and my son. I took him in the bathroom. He was following a little girl that was at the party. and I got on
So
him.
what'd you grab me for?
I
If you
didn't-
knew that was him.
She didn't even. She was not even in the room when I was in there talking to my son. Okay, and then next thing you know, man, it did escalate, but it escalated with the parents. It didn't escalate with the children.
And
but, you know, adults.
everybody was arguing at you.
Everybody just went rampant.
At each other?
Yeah, even down my parents.
About what?
My parents was there. About what had taken place with this little girl and my son.
Okay. She never said anything to you, and you never said anything to her?
No, not that in particular incident that she's talking
Yeah,
about.
that day or
Right,
night?
No, no.
Your Honor, he's lying.
So
No,
she's just making this up?
I told you, she's a drama queen. She over-dramatizes.
No, say yes or no.
Yes.
She's making it up.
Yes, sir, she's making it up.
Okay. What about the other incident? What was it? Choked you that time. About what he hit you in the eye about?
Late for curfew.
All right. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir, I do.
You hit her in the eye? You hit her in the face?
Because I did whip her, but I didn't put no bruises. I didn't
Hit her
beat
in the face?
No, I did
Okay.
not.
What type of whipping did you?
I gave her a hand whooping like I got when I was a kid.
Okay, on the behind.
On the behind, yes, sir.
All right. Why do you think she's making that up?
Your Honor, I don't know. Discrediting me in anything that I do.
This is about rent. Now tell me about that.
He moved in with me.
All right.
Now, like I was saying, I was going into background information about our
Right.
family. My father has never had a stable place of his own. He's always lived with girlfriends. Okay.
Okay.
And in
She-
that,
she
in this
lying
time,
about that?
Sir?
Is
No.
she lying
Yes,
about?
yes, sir.
She's lying about it.
Yes.
All right.
She don't, Your Honor, she has not lived with me ever since she was 12 years old. She doesn't know anything.
Why not?
Because she chose to go down with her mother.
Why do you think that is?
Because you were abusive and
Just like she
alcoholic.
said that I was abusive, and all I was doing is trying to be the best.
Quiet, man.
All I was trying to do is be the best father
know.
I could be as a single parent.
Are you alcoholic or have you been?
I have been in the past, sir.
All right. During the time they lived with you?
I did go out quite a few often, yeah.
yeah, enough where we lived with my grandparents, not him.
I got the point now. Tell me about how he lived with you.
Back in September, late September, I called home because I seen a post on Facebook. My aunt got sick and she was in the hospital. So I called my dad because, like I said, when I lived with my dad, my aunt and my grandparents took care of us. My dad was never there. So I called my aunt, I called him and I asked him, how's she doing? He's like, I don't know, but by the way, I have something to talk to you about. And I'm like, what's going on? He was like, something happened up here where I have no place to live. I'm like, okay, well, to be honest with you, Daddy, I'm having a situation here as well. But, you know, I'm kind of struggling a little bit, but if you're willing to work with me, you can come down. It's a place for you to live. And he agreed. So he came down. And, you know, he was paying just fine for a while. And
what was the amount that he was being
$400.
charged?
Okay. Come March, my dad only paid $95 for the rent. Then come April, well, let's put it like this. On the 3rd, when the landlord called me and told me they were coming to pick up the rent, I went home from work because I was at work. I went home from work. My dad was sitting on the porch drunk, playing music off his guitar. I said, Joe and Janet will be here. He said, for what? I said, rent. He said, for what? I said, because we live here. What do you mean? You know, why would we not pay the rent? What do you mean? He was like, oh, I don't know. And the next thing you know, he's on the phone with this person and that person. Me and my fiance got into the car to go to the store to get some groceries and stuff to bring home. When we got back, he was gone. And so was his belongings. No money was left there, nothing. I called him and I asked him, where's the rent money? Well, I thought you guys were going to pay it. No, they're coming today because they know that's when you told them that's when you get your check. That's why they're coming to collect it today. That's what you told them, and they're going by what you said. I work 4 days a week. 7 days out of the week, you're sitting in the house playing Xbox One and on the phone with females on Facebook. You know what I mean? So I'm like, this is my father, not my child. I shouldn't have to come home and tell you.
Is he still alcohol addicted?
Yes, he still drinks. Yes, that he does. I don't know if he's addicted. He doesn't show out like
drinking every day, and was he getting drunk every?
He was getting drunk.
Did
He
you
was
find
drunk
him
when I
to
got
be
here.
drunk often?
I did.
How often?
When I come home
More than
from
once
work.
a week?
More than once a week, yes.
Drunk more than once a week?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. What do you want to tell me about the rent and the title loan?
Okay, Your Honor. I have a receipt here for the month of March, and that she's claiming that I didn't pay.
Let's see it, please.
Okay. Okay, and then also.
What about April?
Hi, sir.
April?
April, that was the month that I didn't pay because I had to pay $169 for a light bill. And she told me.
So you owe $400 for April?
No, sir.
Why not?
I did pay. I paid for the light bill, and I paid the landlord $95.
Did she say,
Yeah.
okay, instead of you paying rent, pay the electric bill?
This is what her words exactly in her.
All right, how much was the electric bill?
It was $169.
All right, so the rest of the money you just got off that month, huh?
No. She told me to go ahead and pay the electric bill because it was up in the air. How are we going to pay this? And I said, I have the money to pay for it.
You have a receipt for that?
The electric
The
bill?
electric bill.
I do, but it's in my personal.
Here?
Yes.
All right, and did he pay the electric
plus
bill?
He did pay something on electric.
How much?
I paid the whole bill.
Well, it's
whole
because it was
169.
past due because you paid nothing for the month
What
prior.
was his responsibility on the utilities?
Responsibilities were half of the utilities and half of the rent. That was his responsibility.
All right, and you say you have something to prove that you paid all of the bill.
Yes, sir, Your Honor, but it's on my card.
I know.
It's
You
on my
say it's
disability
here.
card.
You got your belongings.
Well, I have the bill itself. I don't have a receipt because it was done on my card. I paid $169 for that.
You have
For the
no
month
evidence
May.
of that.
It came off of my disability card.
And your rent usually came off of
my disability card as well because I would go get cash and
Is
give
that
it
true?
to Joe.
Oh, it would come in by way of cash.
Right.
How do I know who's telling the truth? He's sounding like he's truthful, and so are you.
Yeah, on the day that she's talking about the 3rd of May, okay? The thing was, her mother came down and...
Just tell me what evidence you have.
I have this, what she says.
The plaintiff, let's see it, please. This is what she said
This
to
is
you.
what she texted
That
me
is a text.
when I stepped out.
I tell you what,
out.
keep your money, keep all your money, because you're going to need it, because you're going to get out of here. I'm getting new locks. This seems like someone who is highly convinced that you owe them. What was your response?
I didn't respond to her.
Why?
Because I knew I didn't owe her any money.
Yeah, someone sends you a text like this, telling they're going to kick you out. You need it because you're getting out of here. I'm changing the locks. I'm putting your stuff on the porch. You have paid them. You don't owe them a dime. You don't even say, well, maybe I should at least tell her I don't owe her to keep her from putting my things out. Because she just told me she's going to put my things out. And I paid her. So let me remind her. Don't put my things out because I paid you. Didn't dawn on you to do that? You were drinking that night.
No, sir. I was not. I was over at my stepdaughter's house.
All right. And, sir, you not responding to this text convinces me that you owed, and instead of telling someone who you don't owe that I paid you, so don't set my things out, you ignored her, meaning you were just going to accept the risk of getting your things put out because you knew you owed and there was nothing you could tell her. Judging for the plaintiff, I believe you. Have a good day.
To be honest, I don't have any more relationship with my father. I gave him an opportunity. He blew it. Point blank.
I have no questions about it. I don't even want to be a part of her life.